In 1838, in the Hungarian city of Rohonc, Count Gustav Batthyány donated his entire collection of books from Rohonc to the Hungarian Academy of Sciences. Scholars carefully examined the valuable ancient manuscripts passed down through the family for generations and classified them by type. However, during the selection process, one particularly peculiar book caught their eye. It was a small book, 12 centimeters high and 10 centimeters wide, an old manuscript with 448 sides. The book contained densely packed characters, along with 87 illustrations presumed to have been drawn by the author. The reason scholars were perplexed was that all the characters written in the book were of a script they had never seen before. Initially, the research team thought this might be an ancient Hungarian runic script. They speculated that the style felt unfamiliar due to the author's handwriting, grammar, or other factors. However, investigations revealed that it was identical to none of the scripts used in ancient Hungary, including runic characters. Including the cover, the first and last pages of the book were torn off, so no information about the author could be found either. Consequently, scholars attempted to infer the book's content based on the illustrations. The inferred content of the book was quite shocking. The various illustrations in the manuscript depicted a society where Christianity and paganism were integrated and coexisted. Subsequently, this manuscript, named the Rohonc Codex, began gaining fame in academic circles from 1840, and decryption attempts by experts immediately followed. Hungarian linguist Ferenc Toldy and Austrian paleontologist Albert Mari were the first to take on the challenge. Despite repeated studies, these highly reputed scholars from their respective countries could not offer any answers regarding the Rohonc Codex. Later, Czech scholar Josef Iren, who was recognized in academia for his research and decryption of ancient manuscripts, along with his son Josef Konstantin, subsequently embarked on researching the Rohonc Codex. Although they left records that could serve as benchmarks, they ultimately failed to decipher the book as well. What was discovered was that the script used in the Rohonc Codex had about 10 times more characters than the alphabets commonly used at the time, that it was highly likely an ideographic script imitating shapes of objects or animals, and that the symbols were written from right to left. As a result, scholars began to emerge who claimed that the Rohonc Codex was a forgery. The idea was that the family of Count Gustav, who donated the book, had purchased a fraudulent item fabricated by someone and kept it in their library. In 1866, Hungarian historian Károly Szabó argued that the Rohonc Codex was also a forgery, citing the fact that numerous historical falsifications were created in the 1830s when the book was discovered. The mainstream academic community in Hungary also seemed to agree with Dr. Szabó's opinion, but no evidence to support this emerged from anywhere. The Rohonc Codex was simply impossible to interpret, but no traces suggesting forgery were found. After this, various studies and decryption attempts of the book continued, but no definitive answers emerged, and 55 years passed. In 1885, the Rohonc Codex was sent to Professor Bernhard Julg at the University of Innsbruck in Austria. Along with linguistic aspects, he also conducted scientific tests that had not been possible 55 years earlier. Research on the illustrations, which had been sidelined by the focus on the strange script, was also conducted simultaneously, and the renowned Hungarian painter of the time, Mihály Munkácsy, joined the research team for this. In the research that resumed, surprising new facts were once again revealed. Investigation results concluded that the paper used in the Rohonc Codex was highly likely produced in Venice in the 1530s. This became crucial evidence capable of refuting the forgery theory from the early 1800s, which the mainstream academic community had been asserting. The styles predominantly observed in the illustrations were also similar to those mainly used in the 16th and 17th centuries. Although it was a study that yielded significant findings, deciphering the meaning of the book was once again in vain. As another 100 years passed, the Rohonc Codex came to be called one of the world's 3 great undeciphered manuscripts, along with the Voynich manuscript and the Phaistos disc. In 1970, linguist Otto Gierk studied the Rohonc Codex based on systematic investigation processes and published a book based on the findings. This was sometimes evaluated as the most in-depth research since the book's discovery. 20 years later, in 1990, computer scientist Miklos Rozahegi, who came across this book by chance, attempted decryption using a program based on the statistical data from the book. The goal was to read the book's rules and understand its meaning by applying countless calculations that a human could not process. It was a groundbreaking challenge that could not have been attempted at the time. But the sentences produced by the computer, after processing the entire content of the Rohonc Codex, were merely combinations of words whose meaning was completely unknown. Decryption had failed. Time passed again, and in 1996, Hungarian archaeologist Attila Nyíri published astonishing research findings regarding the Rohonc Codex. I have deciphered the Rohonc Codex through a method not previously attempted. By turning the book upside down and identifying characters that seemed similar to Sumerian, then overlaying Latin and connecting it with the remaining key characters. And as a result, I could finally translate the first paragraph into modern language. Its beginning is as follows. Your God has come. Oh, there are holy angels there. It is them. However, as soon as this content was published, Dr. Otto Georg, who had studied the Rohonc Codex in 1970, strongly refuted it. If such a wide range of allowance is used in deciphering a code, it can be interpreted to mean anything, depending on the decipherer's intention. Other Hungarian scholars also expressed dissenting opinions against Attila's claim, stating that the very idea of ancient Hungarian originating from Sumerian is unfounded. After entering the 2000s, research on the Rohonc Codex became more active, but its beginnings and conclusions were not significantly different from previous studies. Ultimately, the Rohonc Codex has not been interpreted for nearly 200 years, not even a single side. To decipher this ancient manuscript, which has become the holy grail of cryptography, research by various experts and speculation by the public continue to this day. It was likely written in a language used only by certain pagans. It could be the remnant of an ancient state that perished in the distant past and was forgotten. It might be a unique language created by an unknown genius, and various other hypotheses are being proposed, but nothing has been clearly confirmed. However, a peculiar recent discovery, which could potentially be a sign for deciphering the language, has caused debate in the academic community. Ancient cave paintings, with a style remarkably similar to that used in the Rohonc Codex, were discovered in a cave in the Dobruja region of Romania. This cave was a place where Scythian monks lived in community. These monks were figures who held significant positions in Christianity between the 4th and 6th centuries. Within the Rohonc Codex, a particularly large number of illustrations with Christian elements were also drawn. Some have suggested, based on this discovery, that the contents written in the Rohonc Codex might be Christianly forbidden material or contain secrets related to Jesus. Indeed, could the ancient cave paintings be the clue to deciphering the Rohonc Codex? What is strange is that investigation into that Romanian cave is currently not being properly conducted. Could there be yet another hidden reason behind this? This has been the Repository of Wonders.